Today, we're talking about networks that have learned to outrun time itself. We're going to dive into the world of asynchronous blockchains and see exactly how they are shattering the speed limits of the entire digital world. So, let's just make this real for a second. What if you could send money, clear across the globe and have it confirmed, irreversibly confirmed, in literally the time it takes you to blink? And what if that exact same network was built to be practically immune to attack? Well, this isn't some far off hypothetical. This is the promise of asynchronous blockchain. I know, it totally sounds like science fiction, but it is rapidly becoming a reality. And to get there, some of the brightest minds in distributed systems had to take on and defeat the one thing that has constrained every single blockchain since Bitcoin: the tyranny of the clock. Okay, so what exactly is this prison of the clock? To really get the breakthrough, we first have to understand why traditional blockchains are just kind of slow. And it all comes down to time. This slide really lays it all out perfectly. See, most blockchains are what we call synchronous. Imagine a convoy of trucks that can only move as fast as its slowest truck. To keep everyone together, they set a fixed timeout, let's call it delta, and everyone just waits for everyone else to catch up. But what happens if one truck gets a flat tire, right? The entire convoy grinds to a halt. Asynchronous models, though, they're completely different. They're like a fleet of race cars. Each one just goes, moving at its own pace, limited only by the actual laws of physics, not some artificial timer. So you're probably wondering, well, if asynchronous is so much better, why didn't we just build them from the start? And the answer is, for a really long time, everyone thought it was literally impossible. There's this famous theorem that proved that in a system that doesn't use a clock, you can't tell the difference between a computer that's crashed and one that's just being slow. So a deterministic system, one that follows a super strict, predictable rulebook, could get tricked into waiting forever for a message that was never going to arrive. And those, right there, were the bars of our prison. But like any good prison story, this one has a very clever escape plan. If a system that follows super strict rules is the problem, what if we just introduce a little bit of structured chaos? And this is it. This is Honey Badger BFT, the protocol that basically picked the lock. First off, it's leaderless, which means there's no single point of failure for an attacker to target. But its real genius move was how it solved that problem of getting stuck. See, when the network couldn't decide on something, it would just flip a common coin, a shared random number that would force a decision and move things along. And this is the key insight. By giving up on a purely predictable system and embracing a little bit of randomness, Honey Badger BFT could guarantee that the network would always make progress. It literally used chaos to create unstoppable reliability. So, escaping the prison, that was just the beginning. Honey Badger proved that you could run without a clock. The very next step was to build a superhighway, to find a way to run really fast. And that required a completely new way of thinking about data structures, shifting from a single-lane road to a massive multi-lane freeway. And this just brilliantly shows the difference. A blockchain? That's a single-file, one-lane road. You have to agree on block A before you can even think about adding block B. But a directed acyclic graph, or a DAG, that's a multi-lane city grid. Nodes can all produce blocks at the same time in parallel, referencing multiple parents. The consensus, the final ordering of all the traffic, that happens after the fact, just by looking at the structure of the graph itself. It's a total game changer. So, who are the first architects to actually build with this powerful new blueprint? Let's take a look at two of the absolute pioneers who really mastered this new paradigm. First up is Hedera Hashgraph, which is built on this incredibly elegant idea called gossip about gossip. Okay, so imagine a group of people trying to agree on a story. Instead of everyone shouting at once, they just whisper to their neighbors what they've heard, and, this is the key, who they heard it from. Over time, everyone builds up this complete picture of how the information spread. And because they all have that shared history, they can all agree on the correct version of the story without ever having to take a formal, noisy vote. That's Hedera's virtual vote. It's consensus that basically happens inside everyone's head, with almost zero communication overhead. It's brilliant. Next up, we've got Phantom and its Lysis consensus, which took a slightly different path to achieve its goal of lightning-fast, irreversible finality. Phantom also uses a DAG, but it adds this really interesting twist. It holds a kind of election to decide which transactions are the most important. These key blocks, which they call roots, get promoted through a series of stages, almost like a political campaign. If they gather enough support, they eventually become atropos blocks. And once a block becomes an atropos, that's it. It is set in stone, and its entire history is locked in, forever. The result is a system that gets you absolute finality in about a second. Now, these early designs were absolutely revolutionary, but the latest evolution of this idea takes things even further. The new philosophy is all about modularity, breaking the work up into specialized jobs to push performance to the absolute physical limits of the internet. So here's the crucial point. Think about it like a high-tech factory. Instead of having one giant, clunky machine that tries to do everything, you create a specialized assembly line. You have one system of conveyor belts whose only job is to make sure all the parts are available, and then you have a separate master computer whose only job is to decide the final assembly order. That high-speed conveyor belt, that's a protocol called narwhal. Its one and only job is to grab raw transactions, package them up, and get cryptographic proof, a certificate, that the data is available for everyone to see. It handles all the heavy lifting of just moving data around, and it does it incredibly efficiently and reliably. And that master computer? That's Mysticity, SUI's newest consensus engine. Now here's the cool part. It doesn't move any data around. It simply observes the DAG of certificates that are flowing out of Narwhal, and just by looking at the graph structure, it determines the final order with almost no extra communication. It's unbelievably efficient. And what's the result of this beautiful modular design? Well, you get a consensus latency of around 390 milliseconds. Let me say that again, 390 milliseconds. That is faster than the human eye can blink. We are now approaching the theoretical speed limit of reaching agreement across a global network. Okay, so let's move into the final section and really see how this all stacks up. I mean, what does all this speed and all this resilience actually mean out there in the real world? This table right here, it tells the whole story. Just look at the top row. You've got the asynchronous, leaderless systems on the left, and yeah, they are definitely competitive with the leader-based systems like Aptos and Solana when it comes to raw speed. But now, and this is the kicker, look at the bottom row, DDoS resilience. The difference is just night and day. Because there is no single leader to attack, asynchronous systems are just vastly more robust. They can keep chugging along even under extreme network stress. So what do you, the user, actually get from all of this crazy tech? It means your transactions are final. Not maybe final, but truly final in under a second. It means the services you rely on aren't going to go down during a massive attack. And because there's no central leader controlling the flow of everything, it's incredibly hard for anyone to censor your transactions. We've effectively replaced these artificial protocol limits with the actual laws of physics. Which, of course, leaves us with one final, fascinating question. For the entire history of computing, we have designed systems around the basic assumption of waiting. But now that our networks no longer need to wait for the clock, what new impossibilities are we going to overcome next?